Hello, everyone, and I want to welcome you to our Tiger Talk for today. We will be working with one of our favorite campus partners, the police services. We'll be talking with our very own U of M Chief of Police, Keith Humphrey, and he'll be sharing some safety tips and answering questions that families have generated and given us to answer about safety concerns for your student. I do want to remind everybody that as we start, you will be muted and videos are off, but you can ask a question in the chat and we will make sure we address your question live here in the session. This session is being recorded, and so you can access this. Share it with your friends or other parents that you know of. We'll have it on our YouTube channel starting at 6 p.m. Central tonight. We'll premiere it, and then you can access it on demand at any time you want to after that point on the YouTube channel. But we thank you for being here today. So let's go ahead and get started here with our first question, which is kind of an introductory question here. Mr. Humphrey, tell us a little bit about yourself so parents can get to know you and know your background and your journey and how you came to the U of M.
Yeah, so good afternoon, everybody. My name is Keith Humphrey. I have served as the Chief of Police Services since February of this year. Prior to that, I'm from Dallas, Texas, born and raised. Went to school in Texas, East Texas State University. It's Texas A&M Commerce now. It's part of the A&M system. And then started my career in the city of Arlington, Texas, as a police officer and moved up through the ranks, worked in training, recruiting, field training sergeant, patrol commander, internal affairs, crime scene, property and evidence, a lot of really interesting areas of the department. And so after 20 years there, I left and became the chief in Lancaster, Texas, which is right outside of Dallas. I was there for 3 years and we're then recruited to go to the university. Well, not the university, but go to Norman, city of Norman, Oklahoma, where I became the chief. The unique thing about Norman is a sundown town. And so I was the first outside chief, the first African-American chief in the history of the city. And I was there for 10 years and I married a Memphis girl and we decided we were trying to get back close to Memphis because my mother-in-law was having some health issues, and so I took the job in Little Rock, which got us to be about an hour and a half from Memphis. And I took the job there. I was there for 3 years. Retired in 2022, and then just wanted to get back into law enforcement. Wanted to get into campus policing because I had worked in university towns, and this has just been an amazing opportunity for me. So I'm a father of 3 girls, 2 grandsons. Been married to my wife for almost 38 years. And like I said, she was raised here in Memphis. So Memphis women are really good women. I've got a good one, I can say that. And so I'm just glad to be here. And my main focus is making sure that everyone on this campus, whether you're faculty, staff, student, visitor, vendor, whomever, that you're safe. That's our responsibility, and we don't take that lightly. So every day we're figuring out ways and focusing on ways to keep our campus community safe.
Awesome. Thank you for that. Our next question is, what is the safety climate like at the U of M? And then how often do you conduct security assessments?
So security assessments are done every day, 24/7, 365. I mean, we do official and unofficial. We do what's called CPTED assessments, and that's crime prevention through environmental design. So we're always looking at shrubbery, trees. Is this tree blocking a street lamp, or are these hedges too high, or is this tree blocking the view of someone being able to exit or enter or exit a parking lot? Is the shrubbery too high around the windows of a dorm and things like that? Those are constant things that we're doing on a daily basis. And we try to do that, not try to do the report, but we do that report annually so that we can see if we're missing anything. But every day, every officer on this department, every police department employee is a crime prevention person. So they're walking, they're looking, they're making sure that the doors are working, the doors are locking, the cameras on the campus are working. We're very visual. Police officers are extremely visual, so we're looking inside cars. We'll walk by, look in a car to see if someone has their valuables in plain view. Are the blue light phones working? Are the gates working on the parking lots and things like that? If we've had some areas that have experienced property crimes, what can we do to minimize the possibility of that reoccurring? So every day is an assessment here at the university when it comes to safety. And so we immediately address those issues with the directors of those areas or the immediate or that employee that's responsible for that area. But we don't believe in putting things off. Well, we'll say something the next day or 2 days later. We try to make those immediate notifications and corrections at that time.
That's great. That sounds like you all are very busy, so it's not just a when stuff happens type of thing. So we
No,
appreciate.
so there's two methods of policing. There's reactive and proactive, and
Hmm.
reactive is based on we've got to do something. So you see someone committing a crime, you make an arrest, you make a report, you make an arrest. You see someone commit a traffic violation, you immediately address that by issuing a citation. That's reactive. The proactive part is how do you educate the community to minimize the chances of being the victims of a crime or minimize their chances of getting a citation, getting a parking citation, or just how do you bring more awareness to the community regarding how to be safe and how to prevent from being the victim of a crime.
Right. So a few weeks ago, President Hargrave, the U of M president, talked about a new kind of I guess it's a real-time crime center on
Yeah,
campus.
yeah.
And so that kind of piqued my interest, and I'm sure some of the families are interested to know tell us a little bit more about that real-time crime center and what that means for the university.
So it's called the UCIC, which is a real-time crime center, but we wanted to be unique, and so we call it UCIC, University Crime Information Center. And it is a central location or repository for all 12 to 1,300 cameras in the University of Memphis, on all University of Memphis campuses. So every camera system from Lambeth, Law School, South Campus, Millington, and the main campus, all those cameras feed into one location. It's the same way at Lambeth. The police services at Lambeth also has the same capability. So there's also a real-time crime center, UCIC at Lambeth. So we have two locations that all the cameras feed into one location. And so it's real time. So we can actually go in, we monitor that location can be monitored. All of those cameras can be pulled up at any given time and in real time. And they're also recording. They also have a tracking capability. There's AI capabilities and things, but the main focus is real-time crime. It's real-time information. So, we can, if someone were to call and say, hey, we believe that we've got something happening in lot 50, we can immediately go to lot 50 real time and look and see what's going on. If you give us a description of the vehicle, we can go back and track that vehicle to determine the path that it left and follow that as long as that is in the immediate vicinity of cameras and area of cameras, we can track that vehicle. That information is very vital when we're trying to identify suspects, whether it's a suspect that was involved in an offense on campus, or whether it's a suspect that was involved in an incident that may have occurred off campus. And we have an amazing relationship with Memphis Police Department, so we share information. So We can provide them information regarding somebody who may have committed a crime in the Memphis jurisdiction or someone who committed crime on campus. So we are in the process of hiring. We've already hired staffing for that. We're looking to hire some more. This will be up 24/7, 365. It'll be monitored that entire time. And like I said, the main focus is we want to be able to have the real-time information that allows us to help keep the campus safe.
Awesome. Sounds like a really cool new resource. The next question is, what is the Everbridge app? And then how do parents and families receive safety notifications?
So yeah, thank you for that question. Everbridge is our mass notification system. So under Department of Education, under the Clery Act, we are required to have a mass notification system regarding how do we notify students, faculty, and staff regarding incidents, whether they're criminal incidents that happen on campus, on a certain vicinity of the campus, um, uh, incidents such as active shooter, weather-related incidents, IT-related incidents, something that we can notify. We have to have a platform we can notify students of the students, faculty, and staff. Parents can also sign on. So it's a web-based, application-based platform. And you can be notified via text or via email. So how you sign up and how you choose to receive that information is strictly up to the individual. But we provide the information. This is what's going on. We provide those updates, and also when the situation is over. I'll give you a perfect example of how it worked. About 2 years ago, there was an incident happening throughout the city of Memphis that put the entire city on edge, not the campus, but it wasn't too far from the campus. And so the students, everyone received a notification of an ongoing incident, pretty much of a lockdown situation. Once that incident was under control, everyone received a notification that lifted the lockdown and that everything had been the subject was in custody. So these are things that's necessary. It's a mandate by Department of Education. If you do not use it appropriately, you can be assessed fines. If you don't use it, if you use it, and it's one of those things where people will say, well, no, but we didn't get a notification. Well, if you didn't get a notification, it's something that we weren't required to provide notification, because you don't want to utilize it and say, well, hey, we're having a party tonight. That's not what it's for. People will say, well, I didn't get that over Everbridge. Well, you won't get that type of stuff. You'll get it if it's going to affect possibly traffic, the flow of traffic or something like that. And so I think it's trying to get the students and parents and faculty and staff to understand, yes, we have this system, but these are the restrictions. This is the type of information we will notify you. There are going to be some things that we can't utilize it based on Department of Education restrictions, but the safety is the main key for us. And it's free. You can download the app and you can sign it. When my kids were in college, we didn't have Everbridge. I can't remember which platform it was, but I received notifications. As a parent, I just wanted to know that, if there was something serious going on, I wanted to know that my daughter was being notified, and that, that they were notified when it was, when it started, what was going on, and then when it was over. So
That's
it's free
good.
of charge. Yeah, it's free of charge.
Yeah, I would say if any parents are listening, if you haven't signed up for the Everbridge app or to receive the text notifications, please do that. If you need instructions, Kate and I are happy to walk you through how to set that up. You can reach out to us at parents@memphis.edu or call 901-678-2115, and we'll walk you through how to set that up so that you can get those notifications, because that's important for parents to be aware, just as Chief Humphrey said.
And Heather,
Another,
let me
yeah,
say
go
this.
ahead.
It's the best free resource that can be available on campus. Other than your degree, it's probably the best resource or the best gift that you can be provided for safety.
That's true. So our next question that families have submitted is about Tiger Patrol. It's one of our resources on campus. So, what is Tiger Patrol and how does it keep students safe?
Yeah, so it's student based. That's the unique part of it. It's a student based program where the students are really an ambassador for the university and for safety. They're police department employees. They're not police officers. They have no law enforcement um, rights. They don't carry any weapons. Their main focus is to provide information and escorts. And so they will, right now they're working, I believe, from 6 to 11, 6 p.m. to 11. In the summer, it was mainly daytime because there were really no night classes. But because we're getting darker sooner now, it's 7, I believe it's 6 to 11. But uh, the students are there to provide escorts or information to students, faculty, or staff late night, you need a ride to your car, you need directions to a building. They're able to provide that resource to a student, faculty, or staff, parent, or whomever. And so it really works out as an additional layer of safety for students and faculty and staff. They're visible, so they are riding around in a cart that's marked police services. We have another one that we're working on to have it marked police services, labeled police services, but they're there for the students, faculty, and staff. They're driving in the parking lots. But like I said, they take no enforcement action. Their main focus is they're an ancillary part of the police department that provides escorts and information to those on campus. And they are students. They work about 20 hours a week, and not to interfere with their studies, but we have given that program a boost. We rebranded the program. We have students that are very passionate about it. Some are criminal justice majors. Doesn't mean that they're going to automatically go into law enforcement, but they wanted to give back to the university community, and they're doing so by providing that protection and that other layer of security.
Awesome. So
And
speaking,
you can contact if you want Tiger Patrol, they could be contacted through our non-emergency number 678-HELP, and you can request Tiger Patrol 678-HELP.
perfect. Alrighty. So speaking of resources, this parent wants to know what other safety resources are in place on campus, and then if there are any new safety initiatives on the horizon.
Yeah, thank you for that question. So we have a three tiered approach when it comes to safety here on campus. So we have we talk about Tiger Patrol, and I spoke earlier about the students not having any enforcement rights. So they're not enforcing laws. They're proactive. That's number one. And the second layer is Walden Security. We have a third-party security company, Walden, that works 24/7 on the campus. They're in the university center and the parking lots, Holiday Inn, parking lots of the dorms and things like that. And that's visibility. And then we have the police department. And then we have the camera systems. And so, like I said, we have over 1,300 cameras combined on all of our properties. And so, and then we have officers. Our officers are constantly patrolling the area, the campus. We're being proactive. We are more proactive than we want. We want to be more proactive than reactive, but we are proactive in the fact that we'll get out and we'll physically walk the campus. We have a utility vehicle side by side that will drive around, that allows us to drive on the inner perimeter of the campus. And of course, we've rebranded our police departments, and so we have new vehicles that give us an opportunity that they're more visible, more dependable. And so, and then we're looking for other ways for to interact. So, the crime prevention methods and things like that. So we're going around talking to classes. I've probably spoken to about 5 or 10 freshman classes and other student government classes and department heads. I've been asked to come and speak and talk about what the police department's doing. And so, we have a ongoing relationship with Memphis Police Department and the Shelby County Sheriff's Office. And so we are really improving our relationships, and we're also improving our reach when it comes to making sure our campus is safe. And we've gotten more people who are calling in, reporting more suspicious activities. That's what we want. Let us make that decision if something is suspicious or not. We want you to call. And so we're not taking anything lightly, and we're educating the campus on how to be safe. Constant education, visibility, talking, being more proactive, being more visible, and just basically realizing that this is a community and we are a police department. I think sometimes college police departments do not share that with their students, faculty, and staff. They see them as not an enforcement part of law enforcement, but just visible. But we are a full-fledged police department, so we can arrest, we can write tickets, we can investigate our own. We investigate our own crimes. We work with the Memphis Police Department, but our focus every day is to how do we help teach our campus or help our campus and the population of our campus to be safe.
You kind of touched on our next question, actually. And then we also have a question in the Q&A in the chat from a family member. But you mentioned that you partner and you work with Memphis Police and also Shelby County Sheriffs. You mentioned Walden Security. And so the next question that a parent asked was, does the U of M employ security guards or police officers? And I think you kind of answered that with both.
Yeah.
But
So
the
let me
question,
kind of explain that if I can. So
okay,
we are working and we are going in a direction at some point to have our own university security, also in conjunction with the police department. So the security specialists that we will be, surveillance specialists that we will be hiring will be working for the police department. They will be university security officers that will be stationed in our UCIC to watch the cameras. But at some point in the near future, we want to have our own university security personnel in conjunction with our police department.
gotcha. So instead of using an outside source to have a
Yeah,
security, you're saying they would
we
be
like to
fully
have our own.
hired by, right?
Yeah, we'd
Okay,
like to have our own university security.
that
So
makes
it
sense.
would be police services and security at
Okay.
some point in the in the future. We want to do that, and I think we can go there. I think we can get there.
Okay, that's good news. So the parent wants to know, have more officers been hired recently, and how many officers does the main campus have? So it kind of ties in a
Yeah,
little bit to the question that we're on now.
yeah. So I have two unfilled positions at this point. We have just pretty much over the last 7 or 8 months, we have been really hiring. We have been hiring certified officers, so officers that we do not have to go through a full academy, that they're ready to work after going through a short training period. They're able to come and work on the campus without going through the academy. So they're already trained, they know state laws and things like that. So as of this point right now, we have two vacancies, which is amazing. Back in February, we had like 11 vacancies. So we've been adding additional people. Uh, Here on the campus, we have 30, I believe, a little bit over 30 officers, and then we have an officer at the 2 officers at the library, and we have 6 officers at Lambert. So we have about 40 officers total, but about 30 here on campus total. And that's patrol officers, supervisors, that includes the chief, that includes the colonels, deputy chief, and detectives. So that's everybody here on campus, about 30, 32, 30, about 32, 33 officers. on campus. And they're split into 3 patrol shifts. So we have a day shift patrol from 6 a.m. to 4 p.m. And then we have a patrol that comes in from 3 p.m. to 1 a.m. and then from 9 p.m. to 7 a.m.
Awesome. Alrighty, good to know. Our next question comes from a parent who wants to know how you and your team are addressing the high rates of vehicle burglary and theft on and near campus.
Well, the visibility, and as I mentioned earlier, being able to capture that video and providing that information to neighboring agencies, and that's how we've been able to identify a lot of our suspects. We've been able to also identify suspects based on the fact that we just had officers in the right place at the right time. We do what's called ComStat, which is analyzing data to determine the days and hours where there is a probability that an offense will occur. So we know we have to deploy resources in that area at that time. The cameras have been amazing. Even if we can't capture the person in the act, we've been able to have that evidentiary information to be able to go back and identify them later. And what we found is that the same individuals who are committing offenses in the city, around the city, on this side of the city, are the same ones that are committing crimes on our campus and vice versa on our campus and in the city. So we've been able to work with Memphis to identify quite a few. We have actually driven up and have prevented some vehicle burglaries. We've had students who have actually called and reported suspicious activity and been able to provide us descriptions of vehicle, license plates of vehicle, or we've just actually noticed, we've had officers who have been in areas and seen people on foot going into parking lots, looking inside cars, and they've been able to prevent that. But, we've also had our incidents where we haven't been able to prevent them. But the fact of the matter is the visibility and using the data and working with neighboring agencies and having a really good investigative team and continually talking about these, and then just having the support from the president's office and from the VP over business and finance, and we've been very fortunate. The state provided us $12 million over the last 3 years, and that's how we've been able to increase our technology footprint on campuses with the cameras and various things that we've been able to do. So we can provide top quality service. We're looking at body worn cameras for the officers, and we're looking at ways to where officers can do the reports in a paperless format. And what that does, that allows them to stay out on the campus longer, not be in the office, so they can do their reports from their cars and be visible in the places that they need to. And then we've worked to expand our walled-in security contract. So, where we have not had a problem with getting approval to, if we know we're having a problem at a location, adding additional walled-in officers there, South Campus and whatever. So those are the things we've been doing. And every day is a different discussion. You have to review your data to determine what's going on in order to deploy the appropriate resources. So that's what we're doing. Every day is a different discussion and a different review of what's going on campus.
That's good and very comforting to know that the state is investing in the safety of our campus and our
Oh,
students.
absolutely. So it was like
Mhm.
I want to say it was 5.7 1 year, and then 2 million, and then we got an additional 5.4 million. So, and you notice there's a lot of new gauge going around,
Yeah.
and,
Mhm.
and lighting and stuff like that. We've been able to do that and add these additional cameras in the real-time crime center and vehicles and things like that. This is how we're able to do that.
And I like that, oftentimes you hear that the university got money for this and money for that, and you can't necessarily feel the immediate tangible, repercussions of having that. So I think that, with the visibility and the gates and things, those are visible things that you can actually see and experience on campus to know that those investments are being made. So our next
Absolutely.
question, let's see, our student lives in privately owned apartments near campus. So does the University Police Department patrol areas near campus, or are they just confined to a certain radius, or how does that work?
So we try to take our expansion out to 2 to 3 miles outside the actual campus. Like I said, MPD, we have a real good working relationship with MPD. So what it may not be in our jurisdiction, they are responsible for, and vice versa. So we have that. So we are in the immediate areas of the campus. And so there are, you will always see one of our officers somewhere near an area where people may not think is campus. Now we're not going to be up at Popular and Colonial, but the immediate vicinity, yes. I mean, I think we even go sometimes down to Spotswood. We have that relationship. So we've heard Memphis officers. We can monitor their radios. They can monitor ours. So we'll hear a Memphis officer go out on Spotswood and Highland, and officers will go and back them up if they're close, and vice versa. So it just depends on the intel we have, and it just depends on the call load. But it's not uncommon to see us branch out a little bit from the immediate area of the campus.
Awesome, good to know. So this next family member would like to know, do university police conduct welfare checks?
Yeah, we can. Absolutely. If you tell us that if you call and say you haven't heard from someone or that there's something that's just not right, we absolutely can conduct a welfare check. And we have.
That's good to know. I have a question in the Q&A. I just want to jump in real quick. It says, is there a public dashboard to see the monthly activity reports, like the number or location of burglaries and assaults and things that are happening on campus? Is there somewhere that, like, if a parent wanted to access
Yeah,
that?
it is actually on our PD website. If you go to police services, and you can get a daily report of everything that happened. Um, Everything that I want to give you the right information, but anything that happens on campus, any calls that we receive, you can get that information. We don't try to hide it. We keep it public. I'm gonna get that for y'all. But yes, you can. Let me find it for you.
That's a very good question. Thanks for asking that.
Absolutely.
So I know that I think I've
So it's
been
a
on there
daily
before to see
incident
an
log.
incident.
If
Yeah,
you go to University Police Services, University of Memphis Police Services, there's a daily incident log. And we update this every day, and it provides all the calls that have occurred on the campus. So it's by mandate by uh, Department of Education. We talked about Cleary. We're mandated to have that. So if you go on our police services, and it'll be under um, incidents, and so right now it's everything that has happened through the 18th, but we're constantly entering stuff in. So it's a mapping portal, and you can actually go to that. It'll tell you a summary. It's under investigation, what time it came in, the location, and all that.
very good. So as Chief Humphrey said, make sure you're accessing. You can go to the U of M website and type in police services to get to the police services website so that you can access those daily incident reports.
Yeah. And it's under
Um,
incidents. Everbridge is on there. uh, Staff directory. It talks about the police department, who we are, Everbridge, incidents, all that's on there.
All right, so we have another question that has come in. Are the patrol officers, besides driving or walking around campus, more visible? Meaning, are they visible to the public throughout the campus rather than just maybe in one place or one building? Like you can look up and see, oh, there's a police officer.
Yeah,
You have that feeling of
they
safety.
better be. They better be. They should be. I
Uh-oh.
do know that we do have a footprint on this campus. I mean, I hear it all the time in the admin and UC and business buildings, library. So they're there. I mean, we have a big campus, so I can't tell you that every minute you're going to see an officer in every building, but the footprint is there. They have that. They have been empowered to be problem solvers, and so we encourage them and direct them to get out of the cars, walk, talk to people, be visible on foot, be visible in the cars, if you have an issue, so they are visible. Sometimes people say we never see one. Well, this is a pretty big campus, and so just in this immediate area, we have this one in South Campus, and so but they're visible. And we're expanding that. Like I said, we've got the side by side, we've got the Tahoes, we've got the Explorers, and they're clearly marked vehicles. Also, I meant to mention that, as you know, the campus schools and university schools now where it has its own school district. So each one of the schools have a school resource officer. So you'll see school resource officers. They're University of Memphis police officers, but we have two assigned at the middle and high school, and one at the campus schools. And so that was funded through a grant. Also, those positions were funded through a grant. So their main focus is specifically related to the schools.
Awesome. Alrighty. Our next question is, does the U of M conduct regular safety drills and exercises like an active shooter, like drill or anything like that?
So we do. We just had a we for staff. We had a active shooter discussion. We continually talk about that with emergency management and the police department. We're constantly working on. We are working on how to make that fit on an annual basis to where we can have two or three of those type of trainings. But yes, we do discuss those trainings. We have done those trainings, and we're continuously talking about how to make that fit for the entire university.
That's very good. Especially, you think of tornado drills and fire drills, but I
Yeah.
didn't even think about this type of question for active shooter drills. So there are things that happen on campus. So how does the U of M police work with the university to handle things like sexual assault allegations or even like student to student threats, like not necessarily something coming from an outside
Yeah.
person that's coming onto campus to commit a crime, but stuff that's happening between students. How do they handle those types of allegations, threats, and how do students file those reports?
So immediately, we've had situations where there have been allegations of sexual assault or harassment or stalking, and we handle those through criminal investigations. We don't take it lightly. We don't take it as if, well, this is just something that someone is saying. If someone alleges that they have been the victim of a crime, we take that report. That report is investigated. We investigate sexual assaults, we investigate stalkings, domestic violence, burglaries, things like that. There are those calls. Unfortunately, if we did have a homicide, God forbid that occurring, we probably would reach out to Memphis PD or someone to help us with that. But these other we investigate our suspicious activity, all of our crime that's reported to us. We investigate. We present the package to the district attorney's office. We make the arrest. We're there with with an indictment, and if it goes through trial, we're there. We have victims coordinators, and then the school has an amazing support platform. And so, if it's a situation that's not criminal, under Title IX, those incidents are investigated, and it could lead up to suspension. If someone, the main focus is protection and taking care of someone who has been the victim of a crime. And sometimes it's not criminal, it's administrative, but there's always some are strictly criminal and administrative, and then there are some that are not criminal but it's strictly administrative. And so I've seen the university do a really good job of addressing those incidents in a timely manner. I've seen it where we had one incident that was a domestic situation that occurred, and the victim was immediately placed in a different housing location and provided resources, whether they were on-campus resources or off-campus resources. And so the university does an amazing job working with us. So we're constantly having these discussions regarding, I got a call not too long ago, 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning of an alleged offense that have occurred. And from that point, it starts rolling, contact the dean of students and the VP over student government, the housing director, things like that, letting them know, hey, this is what's going on, keeping everybody updated so we don't drop any, the ball's not dropped. It's a continual process until we get a solution. But the main thing is we are we respect the confidentiality of a student who alleges that they have been a victim. And I say alleged because it doesn't mean they weren't, but I have to say that because it's not, I don't want anybody that we automatically take everybody's. No, we take it serious. So if someone tells us they've been a victim of a crime, we take that report, and we say allegation because that's the formal definition that it was allegedly occurred. Doesn't mean that we don't believe it occurred, but we have to say that until that person is proven guilty. But we take it seriously. We investigate it. We strongly uphold confidentiality, and follow the state guidelines when it comes to the investigations of certain types of crimes, especially crimes against persons. I mean, there's certain, then we provide documentation for the resources and things like that. We have victims coordinators. One's a grant-funded position and one's a university-funded position. And so we follow the guidelines of state and federal laws when it comes to reporting crimes against persons or all crimes.
Awesome. All righty. All really good information that parents, I hope you're, taking some notes to know for your students. So this next question is, can students or even faculty and staff carry licensed firearms on campus or keep them in their dorm room?
They cannot, students cannot. There is a privilege, that faculty can register a weapon. You have to be a faculty member in order to do that, but you have to be a concealed handgun carrier. That has to be approved by the police chief. So there's documentation. Students cannot carry weapons on campus. They cannot have them in their vehicles. That's under state law, but there's a provision for faculty to be able to do it, but students cannot. I had a student who was a non-traditional student, and concealed handgun carrier, military, and I had to inform them that they couldn't. I'm sorry, but this is what the law states. But the law is very strict when it comes to bringing weapons on campus and who can do so. So no, a concealed carry permit in itself does not give the person the authority to do so. Limited. Those, it has to be faculty, and they have to register that weapon. They have to get approval. So there's, like I said, there's a detailed form that has to be completed. Things have to be there's a process. I have to approve it, and then they have to each year they have to get that renew that process, and those forms have to be kept under tight security.
Right. So I know we're getting close to time, so I want to skip down to just something that you can say to parents. What can parents say or tell their students, or what kind of nudges can they give to their students just to remind them about safety and awareness on campus? So that they can, when they have those conversations, we always encourage from our office for parents and family members to have conversations at different times of the semester regarding different topics like wellness and grades and midterms and things like that. But what can parents say to their students about safety?
So I think the main thing is to let them know that although you're going off to school, you're still my baby. And the fact of the matter is you have to really be careful. This is the point in your life where you have to learn how to be responsible, have to be aware and alert. Case in point, we know and we don't condone it, and we don't, authorize it, but we know kids are going to have a drink. Have a designated driver, if that's the case. I'm not stressed. Please don't drink, but if you are, have a designated driver. If you're going to go out, don't accept cups and drinks from people that you don't know. Don't leave your purse and things like that. So basic rules of safety. Always be aware. Have someone with you. Remember where you are. Be aware of your surroundings. Don't have your AirPods in your ears with your head down, or your headphones on with your head down, walking across campus on a skateboard. Don't do that when you're walking across the street. Be careful. So those type of things, let someone know where you are. Yes, you are entering that world of adulthood and being independent, but at the end of the day, everybody needs someone to look out for them. And so, let someone know who you are and get to know someone. Never leave the campus for long periods of time without letting people know where you are. Share your phone number with someone. Don't be afraid to call law enforcement or security if you need them. That's not a sign of weakness. That's a sign of safety and preparedness. So the main thing is just using common sense and realizing that this is supposed to be some of the best years of your life. Make them the best years of your life by being alert, being responsible, being humble, using common sense. If it doesn't seem right, it's not right. And always don't be afraid to ask people to look out for you. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid that. Let mom and dad or whomever know, hey, I'm going home with such and such this weekend. This is where I'll be. If you don't want to let mom and dad know, let someone know. Let the desk assistant know. Let somebody know where you are, so that they can, if you need to be reached, if there's an emergency and someone needs to get in contact with you. So just basic safety rules. But the main thing that I want to share with the young ladies and young men, don't drink out of a cup that someone gives you. Don't leave your cups. Don't leave your purses. Don't leave your phones and things like that. Don't go with people that you're not aware of. Don't just let anyone up in your dorm. So these are just basic things that I think, report suspicious activity. You call us, let us make the decision on what's suspicious. Don't you make the decision. That's why we have 911. Dial 911 if you think something's not right. Nobody's going to get mad at you about that.
That's good. Go ahead, Kate.
Awesome. So our last question to end the day is how can we get in touch with police services if we have any questions or concerns?
Yeah, so the phone number is 901-678-HELP, 901-678-HELP. Also, we just received some additional steering wheel locks. So if you want some steering wheel locks, you can come to the police department over at 300 Hudson Health, or we're going to also have some over at our police dispatch center, which is right next to parking services. So we'll have, or you can send me an email and I can tell you where to come and get one. So they're free. Until we run out, they're free. So that's the main thing. But 678 help is the main is any questions you have regarding police services. Or you can email me directly at k.humphrey@memphis.edu. I do answer my emails. And any questions you may have, I'm here for you.
Well, we just want to thank you, Chief Humphrey, for taking the time to share with us all this great, helpful wisdom, this safety information. Hopefully, parents, you feel more prepared to talk to your students and you feel more aware and know what's going on as far as safety and the climate and all the wonderful things that are happening on campus to keep this campus safe. And we thank you for participating today, for your questions. If you're watching this later on demand and you have questions, please feel free to reach out to our office. We'll definitely get you in touch with police services, with Chief Humphrey and any of his staff, and help to answer any questions that you may have after watching this session on demand. But we want to remind families about finals care packages. The sales for those are coming up, actually happening now. So you can actually go to our website, memphis.edu/UM parents, and purchase your student a finals care package. We're going to be putting those together in a few weeks before Thanksgiving so that they'll be ready for students to enjoy as they prepare for their final exams. And this is always a good treat for students, knowing that their families are thinking about them at that time where it could be a little stressful. Also, we want to thank everybody for coming and invite you to our next Tiger Talk, which is going to be November 6th. Have to get my dates right. Again at 1 o'clock, and we'll be talking with the Office of First Generation Student Success. But we have a couple of more Tiger Talks after that, so check our website out. And until then, we will see you on the next Tiger Talk. You have a great day, and we'll see you soon.
Happy homecoming.